Tell me this, Nancy. As a mom, how was it watching Taylor take charge of her journey? I know you have other sons and daughters and everything as a mom, and I'm a dad, and like I said, if my 21-year-old called, I think I would fall apart. Right. But how was it for you, to see Taylor? Did you see her grow up overnight and get more, just what was the change like in Taylor?
She got sick to the point that she had to go into the hospital in a wheelchair. And for me, that was my big emotional moment, was she can outrun me, she can out everything me.
Because she was right. Soccer player, so, just out there,
I mean, I'm
so
like
active.
The klutz of the family, and so to actually be able to walk faster than her, and to have to wait for her to be able to join, to walk up to us, and then to actually need to get a wheelchair to get her into the hospital, that took my breath away.
So, we've talked about the teenage years are obviously not very pleasant, but do you think you made a connection with, this helped make the deeper connection with Taylor at that time? I know this is not a great way to make that connection, but how was, did you come together more as a family with that?
We really did, and our faith is very important to us, and I think we really learned to rely on our faith, lean on it, lean into it, and it was a very scary time, and I wanted her not to get fear from me. I wanted her to get survival and advocacy, and to not pull fear from anything I was feeling.
That's amazing, Nancy. So how were you able to empower her as an advocate, just as an advocate for herself? Did you have discussions with her saying, Taylor, this is how, this is our discussion of saying, how will you go forward with this, and how you can take care of your own health care?
Right, and she was at that point at 21 where she was already independent, but not completely independent. And so for me, the hardest thing was letting her go back to college afterwards, because we had, I guess, grown closer. And she's always been very independent, but she was a little bit dependent on us.
Right.
And then to go back to college, to see her drive out of that driveway and head back. And knowing that she had to walk to classes and carry books and all of that stuff. It was, we felt very close, but it was very emotional to see her rejoin the world. And then she, I think it was said very eloquently, she used to be all about soccer, and we all kind of wondered what she would do when she wasn't playing soccer. But she did. She found her voice.
All right. So Taylor, tell me this. So how was it going back and rejoining? I think Nancy put it mildly, I would just stalk my kids. That's what I would do. What's going on here? What's going on there? But tell us about your just rejoining college. That's such a big, it's such a big deal. And so what were the emotions that ran through your head, and how did you advocate for yourself, help yourself rejoin college?
Yeah, so that was probably probably the most difficult for me transition-wise, because I probably wasn't quite ready to go back, but I didn't have much of a choice because health insurance-wise, I had to be a full-time student in order to keep my health insurance. So what I did was tried to utilize my support system as best I could. So my sorority sisters and my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband.
I'm glad you said that.
Yes, yeah. Okay. And so just being comfortable and okay to ask for help. So I think that sometimes can be very difficult for patients because you don't want to feel helpless, but there are times where you literally
need help.
You can't survive without it, right? So I kind of worked with the sorority to coordinate. I lived in the sorority house at the time, so I got sisters to help coordinate me in terms of when to pick me up from class and drop me off so that I didn't have to walk as far. And then, carrying my books physically was not possible. And so I worked with my professors to be able to not bring my book to class and that sort of thing. So just finding ways to adapt was really important for me. Initially, I think people kind of choose to either be public about their diagnosis or to be very private. And I don't think that there's a right or a wrong way. I think that it's, up to the patient. I personally have chosen a path of very public, outspoken about my diagnosis. And I believe that it's really important to speak up because I am one of the few that survived lung cancer. And so want to bring hope to people, to let them know that they don't have to be a statistic, and that, there is hope and possibility to survive. But two, I think that, the stigma that's associated with lung cancer, and that people believe that only smokers get this disease. And so I think that any time I have the opportunity to bring patients to resources or to bring awareness, that it's really a calling for me to speak up.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You must be a really proud mom now. Like you've said, if you live through the teenage years, my daughters grew up like Taylor, and they grew into impressive young women. So tell me this, one was around your family and friends. What other places did you go for your information to go through your cancer journey, for help? Did you go on the internet? Did you go on specific, what were the specific resources that you used?
So I got involved with a local organization that was a lung cancer foundation, and they connected me to resources, the latest research and trials available. And then, as I got more comfortable with that, I branched out even farther and got involved with larger national advocacy organizations. That's kind of how this opportunity has come available, and given me the opportunity to speak is, to partner with organizations like Merck and Your Cancer Game Plan, to bring patients the resources that they need. It's a central place, a website where patients can go to learn about emotional health, communication, and then nutrition, and help them really make a plan for their cancer diagnosis.
So I think you alluded to it, but tell me a little bit in detail about Your Cancer Game Plan. How does that help the patient from somebody like you? Let's say they're young, they got a diagnosis. How can Your Cancer Game Plan help these patients?
So Your Cancer Game Plan was created by Merck and other leading cancer advocacy organizations to provide a website that focuses on three fundamental pillars, I think, that all patients go through and deal with. So communication, not only with your healthcare team, but your family and friends, emotional health and well-being, and then nutrition. And so I think oftentimes patients have it in their minds, like, we know that all those things are important, but when you're kind of overwhelmed with the diagnosis of cancer, it can sometimes be hard to find a resource that addresses all of those things. And so,
like in a more holistic fashion, everything together.
Absolutely.
In one place.
So yourcancergameplan.com is a website where patients can go, put together a plan, find recipes, helpful tips, suggestions and videos on communication, emotional health, and well-being. And so it's just a place that kind of is one portal where people can go to get information.
So did you use it yourself, just running through it?
Yes. Yeah, and some of the recipes are fabulous.
Give me one. Which is tell me a good recipe.
So there's a macaroni and cheese muffin.
Macaroni and cheese muffin. Now I'm hungry.
But it's healthy for you. It's not bad.
Right.
But there's smoothie recipes, just lots of good things, and it's nice to be able to go somewhere where you can get good, solid information.
So you have to be informed. Kind of almost like an informed customer, that you should know your kind of options and everything, what you can
Absolutely.
get, and that can lead to a better path. So you have to advocate for your own healthcare.